Captain Leona Armitage stood rigid on the bridge of the dauntless horizon, her eyes locked on the viewport. Before her, an impossible sight. 5 alien fleets, thousands of warships arrayed like a wall of stars in the blackness of space, blocking every exit. The ship's scanners blinked frantic warnings. No escape vectors remained open. Her ship, a single Terran survey vessel designed for exploration and science, was now a lone prisoner surrounded by enemies who saw humanity as a threat to be extinguished. Leona's jaw tightened as the command console lit up with an incoming transmission. The faces that filled the holographic display were unlike anything she had ever seen. Scaled, multifaceted, many-eyed, some with tentacles curling around mouths. Each belonged to a different alien empire, and their combined hostility was palpable. "Captain Armitage," the voice hissed, metallic and cold. "You have trespassed in forbidden space and trespassed upon sacred grounds. Surrender your vessel and crew or face obliteration." Leona's grip tightened on the rail beside her. "This is a survey mission. We mean no harm. Stand down and allow us to depart." The response was immediate and merciless. "You misunderstand. There will be no departure. Your species has shown reckless expansionism for centuries. This ends now." Behind the transmission, the fleets shifted. Hundreds of warships powered up their weapons, deadly arrays glowing with blue, red, and green energy. Each color a threat, each weapon calibrated to annihilate. Leona's heart hammered, but her voice remained steady. "Open channels for negotiation. We want peace." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Cade, leaned in. "Captain, we're outnumbered 10,000 to 1. There's no way we can fight our way out." "Then we buy time," Leona said, eyes hard. "We don't surrender. We don't die without a fight." The bridge crew sprang into action. Sensors scanned the fleets, probing for weaknesses or unusual patterns. The ship's AI, Elias, a sleek quantum consciousness housed within the ship's core, hummed softly, analyzing every byte of data. Leona turned to her science officer, Dr. Suri Hale, who was busy running diagnostics on the signals coming from Arcathos IV, the dead planet below whose ancient ruins had brought them here. "Doctor, what's the status on those ruins?" Leona asked, forcing calm. Suri glanced up, her face pale in the blue glow of the console. "Strange energy readings, Captain. I don't think we disturbed anything yet. But the ruins, they're older than anything recorded. This planet was home to a civilization predating the known galaxy." Leona's gaze flickered back to the fleets. "Could they have a stake in this?" "Possibly," Suri said, voice low. "And if we've awakened something, we don't know what." A sudden jolt shook the ship as a warning klaxon blared. "Enemy vessels powering weapons," Cade reported. "They're not bluffing." Leona's mind raced. The dauntless horizon was equipped for defense only in the weakest sense. Small energy shields and a handful of drone turrets. This was no fight she could win with firepower. "Evasive maneuvers?" she asked. "Pointless," Cade said grimly. "They have us locked in." Leona swallowed hard. "Then we fight with our minds." "Captain," Elias's voice interrupted smoothly, "I am initiating Protocol Bastion. Tactical simulations underway." Leona nodded. "Good. Prepare to send false signals. We'll make them think we're powering down vulnerable. Buy time." As the crew worked frantically, Leona took a slow breath, trying to calm the storm inside her chest. The cold void outside was closing in, but she would not let humanity be crushed without resistance. Her eyes scanned the darkness beyond the viewport. Somewhere out there, hidden among the stars and ruins, a power slept, one they might not yet understand. But it was theirs now, and if it was war they wanted, she would give them a war they would never forget. The dauntless horizon hung like a small defiant spark in the vast sea of hostile warships, a single candle surrounded by a tempest of dark steel and laser firepower. On the bridge, the air was thick with urgency, but Captain Leona Armitage moved with deliberate calm. Her crew mirrored her, each member locked into their role, determined to extract every second of breathing room. "Status report," she demanded. eyes scanning the glowing holoscreens flickering with data from the fleet's overwhelming sensors. Lieutenant Cade's voice was steady, but laced with tension. The alien fleets maintain formation, but they've not yet launched a full assault. Their warships cycle power cautiously, like they're testing us, or waiting for something. Leona nodded, fingers tightening around the edge of the command console. Elias, what's your assessment? The AI's voice was cool and even, emerging from the speaker with the crisp clarity of a well-trained officer. Hostile fleets are utilizing advanced electronic warfare suites. However, I have detected exploitable fluctuations in their sensor arrays. I am running simulations to identify optimal evasion and countermeasures. She glanced toward the science station where Dr. Suri Hale worked feverishly. Doctor, what about those energy signatures from our Cathos IV? Are we picking up anything new? Suri's fingers danced over her console as she sifted through streams of raw data. Captain, the signal is still faint but growing. It's rhythmic, like a heartbeat. I can't tell if it's natural or artificial, but it's definitely linked to the planet's crust. Leona frowned. Could it be some kind of warning system? An automated defense? It's possible, Suri said without looking up. Or a beacon. Something that's calling out. But right now it's just a whisper, barely noticeable over the cosmic background. Leona's mind churned. The fleet's hesitation, the strange energy pulse, the silent warships circling them like predators, all signs of a tension she couldn't yet grasp. Keep monitoring, she said, and patch the signal feeds directly to me. I want to know the instant it changes. Her comm panel chimed and she tapped it open. A message from the coalition fleets, a holographic face flickering into view, this time from a new commander, a towering figure with mottled crimson skin and eyes like molten gold. Captain Armitage, the commander said, voice low and deadly. You delay unnecessarily. Surrender now, and your lives will be spared. Defy us, and your destruction will be swift. Leona held her gaze steady. You have the wrong impression of humanity. We seek exploration, not conflict. We mean no harm. The commander's expression twisted into a grimace. Your species has repeatedly proven otherwise. Your expansion threatens us all. You will submit, or you will die. The transmission cut abruptly. Typical, Cade muttered. Leona sighed. Let them think we're scared, but we're not. Elias, initiate protocol bastion. I want every sensor, every communication channel tapped and analyzed. We need to understand their tactics. As you command, Elias replied. The AI's quantum core began weaving a complex web of simulations, running thousands of hypothetical battle scenarios against the coalition's forces. Every variable was tested: weapon frequencies, ship formations, response times. On the science deck, Suri continued to focus on our Cathos IV. Captain, she said suddenly, her voice trembling slightly. The planet's surface is riddled with ancient structures, ruins far older than anything in our databases. They predate the known galactic civilizations by millennia. Leona walked over, peering at the holographic map hovering above Suri's console. Jagged lines traced the outlines of massive stone monoliths, latticed with glowing veins of energy. What do you think they were? Leona asked. Not sure, Suri said. But whatever they were, they had technology far beyond ours, or even theirs. She tapped the map to zoom in on one site. I've detected faint subspace echoes, almost like residual consciousness embedded in the ruins. Residual consciousness? Leona repeated. A form of AI, perhaps, Suri speculated. Or a sentient defense system. Something left behind to guard this place. Leona frowned. If that's true, waking it up could be dangerous. Agreed, Suri said, but we already might have. Suddenly, the ship shuddered gently. The bridge lights flickered. Interference, Cade said, eyes scanning his console. Sensors are glitching. Elias's voice took on an edge of concern. The pulse from our Cathos IV has intensified. It's affecting all electromagnetic systems within a 50,000-kilometer radius. Leona's heart pounded. Could it disable our weapons or shields? Potentially, Elias said, but I am adjusting our systems to compensate. A tense silence fell across the bridge. Outside, the fleets shifted, their ships uneasy, blinking through intermittent sensor blackouts. Leona spoke softly, almost to herself. Whatever's down there, it's waking up. Cade looked at her. Captain, what now? She met his gaze with steely resolve. We buy time. We prepare. Because if this war starts, it won't be with the fleets around us. It will be with whatever comes from that planet. The dauntless horizon hummed softly, a lone beacon of human courage and defiance in the shadow of ancient power and overwhelming odds. Leona allowed herself one brief glance out the viewport, where the alien fleets waited like a storm on the horizon, and then she turned back to her crew. We're just getting started. The dauntless horizon drifted silently above Arcathos 4, its sleek hull reflecting the ghostly glow of the planet's ruins below. Outside, the alien fleets held their watch like vultures circling a carcass, unblinking, unyielding. But something was shifting. A subtle tremor in the fabric of space, barely perceptible at first, was growing stronger. On the bridge, Lieutenant Cade's eyes darted across the sensor readouts. Captain, sensors are going haywire. Incoming electromagnetic interference from the planet is increasing rapidly. Captain Leona Armitage's gaze narrowed. Elias, run a full diagnostic sweep. Tell me what we're dealing with. The AI's voice came calm but urgent. The interference is not random. It follows a complex rhythmic pattern. I am analyzing for source and intent. Suri Hale, the science officer, leaned in closer to her console, her fingers flying over the controls. The pulse, it's like a heartbeat, slow, steady, and it's accelerating. Leona's heart beat faster in tandem. Could it be some kind of ancient defense system activating? She asked. Not just defense, Suri answered quietly. This is something more. A communication, or a command signal, something that's waking up. Suddenly, a jarring explosion rocked the dauntless horizon. The lights flickered as alarms blared across the ship. What was that? Cade shouted, gripping the console. Hull breach in Section 12, the engineer responded. Minor, contained. Leona's eyes snapped to the viewport. Far ahead, a coalition flagship convulsed violently, its shields flickering and collapsing. Then, without warning, it exploded from within, a brilliant fireball swallowing the blackness of space. The fleet froze. Multiple ships reporting system failures, Cade reported rapidly. Shields down, weapons offline, engines unresponsive. It's happening across the entire coalition fleet. Leona felt a cold shiver run down her spine. Elias, what's causing this? The AI's voice was steady but strained. The interference from Arcathos 4 is penetrating shield systems and electronic circuits. It is not an accident. It is a targeted disruption of hostile technology. Suri's face went pale. Captain, I think the ruins are sending out a pulse, an automated response to our presence, or to the fleet's aggression. Leona clenched, her fists. Are we safe? Not entirely, Elias answered. Our ship's systems are shielded by quantum encryption and experimental adaptive circuits, but the pulse is strong enough to affect even us intermittently. On the viewport, the Coalition's fleets were in chaos. Ships blinked off sensors, engines sputtered, and weapons discharged randomly. Confusion spread like wildfire. Xeltrun, the Coalition warlord, barked orders through broken channels. Regroup, focus fire on the dauntless horizon, neutralize the source of this sabotage. But his commands fell on deaf ears. Some ships spun uncontrollably. Others collided with one another in deadly accidents. Leona leaned forward, voice sharp. Elias, can we use this to our advantage? Affirmative, the AI replied. I am calibrating countermeasures to amplify the interference within enemy vessels' systems. We can destabilize their fleet formations further. Cade gave a low whistle. Turning their tech against them. Classic. Suri's fingers danced faster across her console. Captain, the planet's ruins. They're linked through a network of satellites. Ancient defense platforms, dormant for millennia, now reactivated by our proximity and the fleet's weapons fire. Leona's mind raced. Could we control them? Possibly, Elias said. If we can interface with the planetary network and synchronize with the satellite array, we could wield their technology. Leona's eyes gleamed. Do it. We don't have a choice. The bridge filled with tension as the crew worked feverishly. Elias initiated a quantum entanglement sequence, attempting to link the Dauntless Horizons systems with the ancient network. The ship hummed with a new energy, as if awakening alongside the relics beneath them. Suddenly, the bridge trembled, again. A deep, resonant vibration pulsed through the hull, like the heartbeat Suri had detected but now amplified and unmistakably alive. Cade swallowed hard. Captain, the planet. It's responding to us, to the fleet. Leona took a deep breath. We've crossed a threshold. Whatever this power is, it's chosen to act. The Coalition fleet, disoriented and broken, scrambled to adapt, but the ancient system was relentless. Energy tendrils, invisible yet destructive, rippled through space, disabling ships one by one. Captain, Elias warned, I detect a spike in the network's activity. It is scanning us, analyzing our technology and intent. Leona exchanged a glance with Suri. If it's learning, we need to be careful, or we could be preparing to use us, Suri said grimly. Leona's voice hardened. Whatever this is, it has its eyes on humanity now. We're no longer just intruders. We're key players in something far bigger than any of us imagined. Outside, the pulse quickened, a cosmic heartbeat echoing through the void, and with it, a silent promise. The war was far from over. The bridge of the dauntless horizon was tense, but alive with purpose. Outside the viewport, the Coalition fleets convulsed in chaos. Shields flickered, engines failed, and massive warships spun uncontrollably like wounded beasts. The ancient pulse from Arcathos IV was tearing their formations apart. Captain Leona, Armitage felt the weight of the moment press down on her shoulders. The Dauntless was not just a survivor. It had become a weapon in a war none of them had expected. Elias, status report, she commanded. The AI's voice was smooth but urgent. Energy signatures indicate increased synchronization with the planetary defense network. Our adaptive systems are holding, but enemy countermeasures are intensifying. Lieutenant Cade's eyes narrowed. They're still trying to bring us down. Focused fire from 5 fleets doesn't quit easily. Leona gave a sharp nod. Then we give them a ghost. On the command console, Elias initiated a bold maneuver. Engaging quantum phase shift, preparing to shift ship's visibility spectrum and temporal signature to near invisibility. Explain, Leona said, her voice a razor's edge. Quantum phase shift renders the dauntless horizon undetectable by electromagnetic and sensor-based tracking. It effectively disappears from the enemy's perception. Cade whistled low. That's a neat trick, or a desperate gamble, Suri added from the science station. Leona made her decision. Do it. A low hum filled the bridge as the ship's quantum core surged with power. Outside, the hull shimmered like heat haze, bending light around itself. Then in a blink, the dauntless horizon vanished from all sensor arrays. The enemy fleet's targeting systems blinked blank, weapons firing blindly into empty space. For a moment, the Dauntless was a ghost, untouchable, unseen. Suddenly, a nearby flagship of the Coalition exploded violently. The blast erupted from within, tearing the massive ship apart in a fiery maelstrom. Shockwaves rippled through the surrounding fleets. Status? Leona demanded. Cade's face was pale. Internal systems failure. The flagship's weapons and reactors overloaded spontaneously. Suri's voice was awestruck. It's like something infiltrated their ship's core and detonated it from the inside. Elias was analyzing at lightning speed. The planetary network is extending its reach, using the dauntless horizon as a conduit to hack enemy systems. It is overriding their control protocols. Leona's breath caught. We're weaponizing the ancient defense. The coalition fleet scrambled. Without the Dauntless on sensors, their coordination unraveled. Ships collided or drifted helplessly. Weapon fire bounced off shields that flickered and died without warning. Leona seized the moment. Helm, prepare hit-and-run strike vectors. Cade, coordinate with Elias. Let's make these ghosts dance. The Dauntless flickered back into visibility for split seconds, striking key enemy vessels with precision energy bursts before vanishing again. The fleets reeled, unable to mount an effective counterattack. Seltroon's furious voice echoed over broken channels. Kill the humans. They are sorcerers, using alien technology against us. But the warlord's rage could not reverse the damage. Panic and suspicion spread through the coalition like wildfire. Captain, Elias warned, I detect unauthorized communications within the enemy fleets. They are turning on each other. Fear and confusion breed mutiny. Leona's lips curled in a grim smile. Divide and conquer, they brought this on themselves. Suddenly the dauntless horizon jolted violently. The quantum phase shift faltered. Sensors flickered. What now? Cade barked. The planetary network is adapting, Elias said. It perceives the risk of losing the ship as a conduit and is attempting to forcibly sever the link. Leona clenched her fists. Hold it together. We can't lose this connection now. Not when we're this close. The ship shuddered again, systems spiking. The crew struggled to maintain stability as the pulse beneath them quickened, like a beast awakening fully from slumber. Captain, Suri called out, there's a new energy surge rising from the planet. It's massive. We've triggered something deeper. Leona's breath caught. Prepare for anything. This fight isn't just about fleets anymore. It's about survival. Outside, the planet's surface glowed with eerie light as long dormant structures rumbled awake. The dauntless horizon, now a ghost in space, prepared to confront whatever ancient force was rising to meet. The eerie glow from Arcathos 4's surface intensified, painting the void outside the dauntless horizon in shades of deep violet and pulsating gold. The ruins that had slumbered for millennia were stirring, their long-forgotten mechanisms grinding, to life beneath layers of stone and cosmic dust. Captain Leona Armitage stood at the viewport, her silhouette rigid against the flickering lights. The ancient planet, once a silent sentinel, was now a living force, its heartbeat echoing through space and into the very core of the ship. Elias, she said quietly, give me a full analysis of what's happening down there. The AI's voice was calm but laden with significance. The planet's ancient defense network has activated in full. The ruins contain a vast array of technologies, some biological, some mechanical, and some that defy current understanding. The energy pulses are increasing exponentially, forming a complex field that interfaces with our ship and the surrounding fleets. Lieutenant Cade glanced over from his station, eyes wide. So, we've poked a sleeping giant, and now it's pissed. Dr. Suri Hale nodded solemnly. It's not just pissed, it's awakening, and it's intelligent. The pulses are structured like a language, an ancient AI trying to communicate, or perhaps negotiate, through the power it wields. Leona clenched her fists. Can we respond? Communicate? Suri's fingers danced across the console. We're trying to decode the signal, but the complexity is staggering. It's like trying to translate a dead language without a Rosetta Stone. Suddenly, the ship shuddered as if caught in a gravitational grip. The hum of the quantum core fluctuated dangerously. Incoming energy spike, Elias announced. Unknown source emanating from the planet's core. Power levels are beyond anything recorded. The lights dimmed briefly and the crew exchanged nervous glances. Leona's voice was firm. Hold steady. Helm, maintain position. We need to ride this wave, not fight it. Outside, the planet seemed to pulse with life. Massive structures, monolithic. Spires and vast latticeworks, activated, sending ripples of energy cascading into space. The coalition fleets, already battered and confused, faltered further under the influence of the ancient force. A voice crackled through the ship's comm, static-laced and alien, yet unmistakably purposeful. Visitors, you awaken the past. and the Guardians rise. The words hung in the air, chilling and profound. Leona's breath caught. Is that a warning? Suri's eyes widened. More than a warning. It's a message. The ruins AI is conscious. It knows we're here, and it's ready to defend itself. Cade rubbed his temples. So what now? Do we fight ghosts and gods? Leona shook her head. We try to survive first. Then we find a way to talk. Elias interrupted. Captain, I have detected an opening in the energy field, a pattern repeating every 67 seconds. If we time our communications precisely, we might establish a two-way link. Leona nodded. Make it happen. Suri, you and Elias work together to craft a response. Minutes stretched as the ship's crew worked feverishly to decode and encode messages within the complex energy patterns. Then the planet's glow shifted, focusing on the dauntless horizon. A massive surge of energy flowed toward the ship, violent, yet controlled. The hull strained under the invisible force, but the ship held. Brace for impact, Leona ordered. The energy washed over the Dauntless, filling it with a warmth both alien and oddly familiar. The rhythmic pulse steadied, calming as if in recognition. A moment of profound silence followed. Then, through the calm, the alien voice returned, clearer and less ominous. Your presence is known, your intentions seen, the past and future entwined. Leona exchanged a glance with Suri and Cade. The ancient AI was reaching out, not to destroy but to understand. We seek peace, Leona said, her voice steady. We do not wish to bring war to your world. The silence stretched again, thick with possibility. Finally, the voice replied, softer this time. Peace, or war, depends on your choice. The Guardian's trial begins. The planet's surface erupted with light and sound, shards of energy crackling in space as massive constructs emerged from the ruins, ancient sentinels rising to confront the fleets. Leona's jaw tightened. This isn't over. It's just beginning. The dauntless horizon readied itself for the next battle, not just with fleets of warships, but with the guardians of an ancient, sleeping power now fully awakened. The space around Arcathos IV became a theater of shifting shadows and blinding light. Colossal constructs, long buried beneath centuries of silence, erupted from the planet's surface. Towering guardians forged of unknown alloys and pulsating energy rose like titans from the ruins, their surfaces shifting with intricate alien glyphs that glowed with fierce intent. The coalition fleets, already fractured and faltering, watched in stunned silence as these behemoths loomed between the stars, immovable and resolute. Captain, Lieutenant Cade said, voice tight with urgency, these guardians, they're not just weapons, they're sentinels meant to test anyone who dares approach this world. Leona's eyes narrowed, a hard edge sharpening her features. Then we're in the trial. The dauntless horizon floated near the edge of the planetary defense grid, the only fully operational vessel able to communicate directly with the ancient AI. The ship's hull still hummed faintly from the quantum link it maintained with the planet's network. Dr. Suri Hale was frantically analyzing the Guardian's energy signatures. They're unlike anything we've ever encountered. Part machine, part something else. Their weapons don't just fire physical projectiles, they manipulate space-time itself. A direct hit could tear us apart at a molecular level. Elias's voice came calm but ominous. They appear to operate with a hive-mind intelligence, coordinated perfectly to neutralize threats with minimal collateral damage. This is a calculated trial, not a war of annihilation. Leona's fingers tightened on the armrest. So they want to test us, find out if we're worthy. Cade let out a low whistle. Or maybe decide we're not. Suddenly, one guardian shifted, its form bending and elongating as it aimed a massive limb at the Dauntless. The air around it shimmered with a distortion field, and a spear of pure energy launched toward the ship. Evasive maneuvers, Leona shouted. The Dauntless twisted through the void, narrowly dodging the searing blast. The energy tore through space where the ship had been moments before, leaving a glowing scar. Those weapons, Suri warned, aren't just destructive, they're tests of precision and control. If we can anticipate and avoid their strikes, we might survive, Leona nodded. Cade, coordinate with Elias. Use the quantum link to predict their attack patterns. The bridge exploded into a frenzy of activity. Elias worked to analyze the Guardians' hive mind algorithms, feeding the data into the ship's tactical systems. Cade adjusted the helm, weaving the Dauntless through the dangerous ballet of energy and light. Outside, the Guardians advanced, with terrifying grace, their every movement a symphony of power and purpose. The dauntless horizon darted among them like a ghost, striking weak points with precision energy blasts before vanishing again into phase shift. But the Guardians adapted quickly. Their defenses hardened, their counterattacks grew more precise. The trial was escalating. Leona's gaze flicked to the tactical display. We're running out of time. If we don't find a way to communicate, we'll be overwhelmed. Shuri bit her lip, eyes wide. The ancient AI gave us a message. The Guardian's trial begins. Maybe this is more than combat. Maybe it's a test of something else. What else? Cade asked. Intelligence. Will. Humanity. Leona's mind raced. Then we have to show them what humanity is. Not just fight, but reason. Prove we deserve to live. Can we risk it? Cade asked. Try to reach them while under fire? There's no choice, Leona said. Prepare the comm systems. We send a message of peace and of understanding. Suri and Elias worked feverishly to translate human language into the complex energy patterns the AI seemed to understand. The ship's communications array pulsed as it sent the encoded message toward the Guardians. Outside, the nearest Guardian halted. Its glyphs pulsed brighter, the energy field around it stabilizing. A wave of calm rippled through the fleet as the other Guardians paused in unison. Then, a new voice echoed through the Dauntless's comm system, deeper, resonant, imbued with the wisdom of millennia. You have endured the trial of strength. Leona's heart pounded. Now comes the trial of spirit. Prove your worth beyond conflict. Show your desire for peace and understanding. The Guardians withdrew slightly, forming a protective ring around the dauntless horizon. Leona exchanged glances with her crew, hope flickering in the midst of war. The trial was far from over. But humanity's moment to define its future had arrived. The dauntless horizon floated in the eye of an ancient storm. The Guardians had encircled them, not with hostility but with watchful silence. The vast constructs, shimmering with arcane glyphs and alive with cosmic energy, seemed almost sentient, awaiting humanity's next move. Captain Leona Armitage stood firm on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the swirling patterns of light beyond the viewport. The air was thick with anticipation. No weapons fired, no alarms sounded, but the weight of judgment pressed down heavier than any barrage. This trial, Leona whispered, is no longer about survival. It's about what we're willing to give. Lieutenant Cade leaned closer to the comm console, watching the steady stream of translated messages flowing between the Dauntless and the planetary AI. They want us to show more than strength, to show spirit, to prove we're worthy of trust. Dr. Suri Hale's fingers danced over the holographic keys, synthesizing complex emotion and cultural nuances into the coded messages. It's an impossible task, to compress our values, our history, our hopes into a language that an ancient alien AI can understand. Elias's voice was steady, though faint traces of uncertainty crept in. Yet, so far, our communications have elicited pause, not aggression. The Guardians have ceased their attacks. Leona's gaze hardened. Good. Then we don't waste this chance. The ship's crew gathered in the main conference room, the atmosphere tense but hopeful. They knew this was a test, not just of technology, but of humanity's very soul. What do we say? Cade asked. How do we prove our worth? Suri spoke, first voice soft but resolute. We share our story, the resilience, the compassion, the sacrifices that have brought us here. We must show that humanity is more than warriors. We are creators, thinkers, explorers. Leona nodded. Then, We send our message, not just words, but images, sounds, even art and music. Symbols of who we are. The Dauntless's communication array transformed into a beacon of hope, transmitting a rich tapestry of human culture, paintings of distant worlds, symphonies from Earth's greatest composers, stories of courage and kindness, messages of peace and unity. Outside, the Guardian's glowing glyphs shifted and pulsed rhythmically, as if responding to the transmission. The ship's sensors detected subtle fluctuations in the energy field, signs of comprehension, perhaps even empathy. Suddenly, a new transmission arrived, not through technology, but directly into the crew's minds, a chorus of voices, ancient and wise. "We have seen your spirit," the voice intoned. "Your strength tempered with compassion, your will to survive balanced by your desire to understand. The Guardian's trial is not merely combat, but connection." Leona felt a chill run down her spine. This was beyond anything she had imagined. The ancient AI was reaching across the cosmic divide seeking kinship. "But," the voice continued, "trust must be earned and bonds must be forged. You stand at a crossroads. Choose your path carefully." The Dauntless Horizon's crew exchanged uncertain looks. The trial was not yet over. Then sensors picked up movement below the planet's surface, a massive shift within the ruins, as if the planet itself were preparing to reveal its deepest secrets. "Looks like the final test," Cade muttered. Leona's jaw tightened. "Whatever comes next, we face it together." Humanity didn't survive this long by giving up. The Guardians, their forms now radiating a serene light, receded slightly, granting the ship safe passage to descend closer to Arcathos IV's surface. Leona gave the order. "Prepare the landing teams. This is our chance to prove ourselves face to face." As the dauntless horizon began its descent, the crew braced for what lay ahead. Not just a battle, but a meeting that could decide the fate of humanity and the ancient civilization intertwined with Arcathos IV. The dauntless horizon descended through the swirling atmosphere of Arcathos IV, the ancient planet's surface drawing closer with every heartbeat. Below lay the sprawling ruins, their massive spires piercing the violet skies, glowing softly with a light that seemed alive, a pulse that matched the rhythm in the hearts of the ship's crew. Captain Leona Armitage stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the approaching landscape. The Guardians had withdrawn, granting passage, but the weight of the trial lingered like a shadow. "Prepare the landing party," she ordered. "We're going down." Lieutenant Cade and Dr. Suri Hale, along with a select team of engineers and diplomats, suited up in adaptive exosuits capable of withstanding the planet's unique energy emissions. As the airlock hissed open, they felt the hum of ancient power vibrating through the ship. A living force watching, waiting. The shuttle dropped through the glowing clouds, descending into a vast basin cradled by towering ruins. The ground was etched with strange symbols and circuit-like patterns that pulsed softly beneath their feet. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something old, older than memory. Suri's breath caught. This place, it's alive, not just machines, but a symbiosis of technology and life. The ancients weren't builders. They were creators of something beyond our understanding. As the team moved cautiously forward, a sudden light flared ahead. The ruins shifted, forming a vast archway. Standing beneath it was a figure. Not human, not machine, but something in between. A guardian, yet different from those in space. It radiated calm and wisdom, its form fluid and shimmering. The voice echoed in their minds again, this time warm and inviting. "Welcome, Seekers. You have passed the trial of strength and spirit. Now you stand before the legacy." Leona stepped forward, voice steady. "We come in peace, seeking knowledge, and a future shared." The Guardian's glyphs shifted to display images, stories of a civilization that had once thrived here, their rise and fall intertwined with the cosmic forces that shaped the galaxy. They had built the planetary defense network not to conquer, but to protect a fragile balance. "We are the custodians," the Guardian said. charged with guarding the ancient wisdom and ensuring that those who inherit it do so with respect and understanding. Suri knelt, awestruck. Your technology, your power, it could change everything for humanity. Yes, the Guardian replied, but power without wisdom is destruction. You have shown courage and compassion. The legacy is yours to protect, not to wield as a weapon. Leona nodded solemnly. We will honor that trust. The galaxy needs guardians, not conquerors. Back, aboard the dauntless Horizon, the crew prepared for departure with a new purpose. The ancient AI had not only spared them but bestowed a gift, knowledge of technologies that could heal worlds, shield civilizations, and open paths to peaceful coexistence. The coalition fleets, humbled and fractured, had no choice but to reconsider their approach. The warlords' rage gave way to wary diplomacy, inspired by humanity's example. As the Dauntless lifted off from Arcathos IV, the planet's glow dimmed but did not fade, an eternal sentinel watching over the galaxy. Captain Armitage gazed out into the stars, a quiet hope stirring within her. The trial had ended, but the true journey, the legacy of the ancients, had just begun.